welcome to Bear the Terrible. Today we're with the Destruction Loop featuring the new Radiant Steelix from Lost Origin with the Destructive Finish attack doing 60 base damage plus the special effect of discarding all cards from your deck until one remains, doing 30 extra damage for each energy you discarded in this way. So how do we charge up for the heavy attack cost? It needs 2 metal and 1 colorless. We have our Magnezone with the Giga Magnet ability, helping us look at the top 6 cards of our deck and attach any amount of metal energy you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. We're also playing 3 copies of Adamant to help us search for any 2 cards from the deck by discarding 2 metal energies from our hand, 1 Thornton to swap any basic Pokemon in play for a basic Pokemon in our discard pile, 2 Clara to retrieve our Pokemon and energies, and 1 training card for our Volcarona. So the main strategy for this deck is to use our Destructive Finish attack first for a massive knockout, and then play our Volcarona to do Surging Flames, shuffling back all basic energy from your discard pile into your deck. You can also knock out a V-Star or even a V-Max with Surging Flames since we have a total of 20 basic energies. So after shuffling back all discarded basic energy into your deck, we actually get to revive our Radiant Steelix with our Clara and Thornton, and then play our Magnezone's Giga Magnet ability to recharge for the attack and retreat cost, helping us do Destructive Finish a second time. After that, you get to play a Volcarona again to loop the attack for as long as you have cards to revive your basic Pokemon. We also have 1 Pidgeot-V to help us refill our deck, preventing us from decking out just in case we get stuck after using our Destructive Finish. For example, if our opponent is playing a control deck, we may get stuck in the active, not being able to retreat with our Snorlax or Radiant Steelix on the next turn, right after the massive discard. In addition to the Vanishing Wings ability, it can also attack with Flight Surf doing 160 damage if you have a Stadium card in play for only 3 energies. Make sure you're careful with this ability though, just because it only works on your bench. Once in your turn, you get to shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards back into your deck, but only if it is on your bench. For our draw sport, we have 1 Snorlax for Gourmandize, 1 Cynthia's Ambition, 1 Birdkeeper, and 2 Lumineon. So Lumineon V is very important for this deck just because it allows you to search for any supporter card from your deck and put it into your hand. That means you get to search for your Clara Thornton to prepare for your next turn right after using Destructive Finish, or even your Adamant for extra searches. To summon our basic Pokemons, we have 4 Vaporepass, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Capture, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. For the Stage 2 evolution, we have 2 Incense, 1 Ultra Ball, and 4 Rare Candies. For the Switch, we have 1 Item Switch and 1 Birdkeeper. Finally, for our energies, we are playing 18 basic Metal and 2 basic Fire. So that's all for the deck list, and be sure to grab yourself some packs from our sponsor at X-Trainer90 Team to build your very own deck from any cards in format. They even sell online codes for character rares, full art, and gold cards to expand your collection. So check out the link in the description below or click on the top right corner of this video to enhance your PTCG experience. Use code BTT for 5% off any products to get yourself some lovely cards. And now for the moment of truth, let's go for some gameplay! So let's go for our first game. We're up against a colorless deck. Maybe an Arceus, a Blissey. So we have our Snorlax to start, that's great. All we need to do is Gourmandize until we get whatever we need. Oh, it's a Charizard. A Charizard V-Star, a Decoy deck box. And it's from Brilliant Stars. So we are playing the new card from Lost Origin, Radiant Steelix. Another Radiant attacker. So we got Heatran for the last set. And then Radiant support Greninja and Hawlucha. For this set, the support is Radiant Gardevoir and Radiant Sneasler. So Radiant Sneasler allows you to kind of have the same ability as Toxicroak. So for the next rotation, obviously post-rotation, Toxicroak is not going to be standard anymore. So Sneasler is a basic, but you don't get to stack that ability just because you can't actually have more than 1 Radiant Pokemon in play. You cannot add 4 copies of Sneasler, Radiant Sneasler in your deck, obviously. So you cannot actually add more than 2 damage counters, 2 extra damage counter for your poison condition per Pokemon checkup, which is pretty cool. Adding extra damage counters for the poison condition. And Gardevoir actually helps you reduce damage done to your Pokemon by 20, I think, to all of your Pokemon. Or is it just your active? I'm not too sure really. But we have Lake Acuity, Gardevoir, and V-Guard energy for the next set. To boost Hisuian Goodra, which is going to be the tankiest V-Star ever. Anyways, let's focus on right here. We got our Steelix on the bench and 1 Volcarona. We just need to draw 2 Metal Energy for our Adamant. That's why we have so many Metal Energy in this deck, just because we want to be playing Adamant, and it's not so easy to play that supporter card. We have 2 Lumineon to summon it, to search for that supporter card, but if our opponent plays Pass to the Peak, we cannot use our the only V ability that we have, the only rule box Pokemon with abilities that we are using in this deck is Lumineon. But it is a powerful card though. It is the most reliable ability that we need, that we actually have to use in order to support our strategy, because if we search with Edaman, we may not get it in our hand in time. We may get a quick ball instead to search for Lumineon. If they play Path to the Peak, we cannot do anything. We have only one Stadium to displace Path to the Peak. We have only that one training card. Obviously, if you have a rare candy in your hand already, you can search for Magnezone. We actually already evolved one, so we can search for another 2 supporter cards. All we need to do is Edaman for a Clara and a Thornton. That actually helps us prepare for the next 2 turns. The next 2 turns after doing our first destructive finish. Because after that, we're going to be left with 1 card in our deck. That means we're going to discard everything. If we don't draw out our supporters, they're going to be done. They're going to be dumped into the discard pile. We cannot retrieve them anymore unless if we get Paw Pad into our hand or something into our hand this turn before using our destructive finish. So make sure you're aware of that. Draw the cards that you need out of your deck. Draw it into your hand that right before using your Radiant attack. And if you can bench a Pidgeot as well, that would be great, because in the event where you're not able to retreat on the next turn, or if you get stuck, if they boss your Snorlax, you can't do anything. If you don't have a Switch or Bird Keeper in your hand, if you can't search for those cards, if you can't afford to search for those cards before using that attack, you may actually, save yourself with your Pidgeot, because Vanishing Wings helps you buy unlimited turns. If you have like 0 cards left in your deck, you can keep on shuffling back your Pidgeot V into the deck, and then on the next turn draw it back, and then bench, shuffle, draw, bench, shuffle, draw, bench, shuffle. What do you call that? Essentially, you have an infinite deck. You cannot deck yourself out unless if your opponent plays Path to the Peak to deny your Pidgeot from using its ability, or if your opponent plays Durant to discard the final card from your deck. If they discard your Pidgeot before you draw it into your hand, obviously you can't do anything on your next turn. You basically lose the game having 0 cards left in the deck. So we cannot win against a Durant, very, very obviously. We have no boss in this deck to trap them. We cannot win against any mill deck for that matter, because we are emptying our deck every single turn. All they need is 1 Fire Energy on the Centiskorch. If they play Diancie Centiskorch, they just need 1 Fire Energy. If they play Chandelier, there's going to be the new Chandelier. Well, there is now the new Chandelier for Lost Origin, allowing you to discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck if you, once you evolve that card from your hand. So it only works once, but you get to scoop it up and recycle the ability by evolving it over and over with your rare candy, top entry, obviously. And you also get to play your Misfortune Sister. So there's the new supporter card, Misfortune Sister, which allows you to discard any item cards from the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck, but it is a supporter card that you have to play from your hand. That means you cannot draw with any other supporters. You cannot play the Switch with Bird Keeper. You cannot do Clara. You cannot do any other supporter card. Thornton is also a supporter. That means if you swap a basic Pokemon in play for another basic from your discard pile, you cannot actually do anything else. You cannot draw with Cynthia. You cannot play your Clara. You cannot play Bird Keeper. You cannot do anything else. So make sure you're aware of that. That's why we have 1 switch, 1 item switch in this deck, 1 Bird Keeper for Lumineon, so that if you get stuck, if you don't have a Pidgeot in your deck, if you cannot retrieve Pidgeot with Clara, sometimes you can actually save yourself with a Clara, because if you discard Pidgeot with Destructive Finish, you can Clara for the Pidgeot, shuffle it back, and then attach energy to your Volcarona while waiting for enough retreat cost on your Steelix to do, to switch to your Volcarona. Because if you don't have enough retreat costs, you're forced to wait an extra turn, and Clara is going to buy you that extra turn, or basically infinite number of turns, with that 1 Pidgeot. We also have Heavy Ball, by the way, to get any one basic Pokemon from the prize. If we have a Radiant Venusaur, I keep calling it Venusaur, I don't know why. If we have a Radiant Steelix in the prize in addition to another card that we need, for example, a Volcarona or a Pidgeot, we may have no choice but to get the Radiant Steelix, because that is the most important thing for this deck. It's basically, we can't go without Radiant Steelix. We have to. We need to use the attack before we're able to do anything else. Unless if they're playing a one price. If they're playing a one price deck, obviously attack with other Pokemons as well. You can attack with your Body Slam Snorlax. You can do, what do you call that? Laser Beam, I think. I don't know what attack it is, but Magnezone can do 120 damage for 3 energies. And Pidgeot can also attack. 160 damage for Flight Surf, not bad if you have a Stadium card in play. If you don't have a Stadium card, I'm not sure if it's, if it works for your opponent's Stadium. I think it only works if you have a Stadium card in play. If your opponent has one, I don't think it works. So only 80 base damage, but 80 plus if you have a Stadium card in play. For 3 Metal Energy or 3 colorless, same thing. And we actually killed the first V-Star with Destructive Finish. And the second Pokemon, which is Entei V, we killed another V card for the next 2 prize. So now we have 2 prize remaining after doing our Surging Flames. So 16 cards in a deck, all 16 is actually energies. That means right now, we can actually do Rare Candy. If they kill the Magnezone with the boss, we can still do Rare Candy, play the switch to our... Well, we don't need to switch. If they kill the Magnezone, we can just put Radiant Steelix as the active. If they kill the Steelix though, we have Thornton, so we should be fine. All we need to do is play the Thornton on the Volcarona, Giga Magnet for 2 extra Metal Energy onto the Volcarona, or even 1. Obviously, don't attach too many from the deck, because if you have not enough energies in your deck to discard, you cannot do as much damage with your Destructive Finish. Destructive Finish is only doing 30x for each energy discarded. It's not a lot, that's why we need a lot of energy in this deck. We have 20 energies, a total of 20 energy in this deck, in addition to, well, inclusive of our capture, we have 2 fire and 18 basic, well, 22, my bad. We actually have 22. So 2 capture, 2 basic fire, 18 basic metal energy. And since we have a fire in our hand and a fire attached to Volcarona, that means all 16 in the deck are metals. All 6, we actually played our Pidgeot though, my bad. So 15 energy in the deck is metal, and we have actually 1 Pidgeot V somewhere inside the deck shuffled. Sorry about that. We should not have played the Pidgeot, but I suppose we were kind of avoiding, we were trying to avoid a boss knockout, because if they can do a boss, they can kill a V card for an extra 2 prize. Pidgeot is a V card, so obviously don't keep it in your bench if you can't afford to lose 2 prizes. So Giga Magnet actually gives you a full-on maximum 6 energies if you play it after using your Surging Flames. And right now you get to see us doing our Giga Magnet for a lot of energies. So we want to show off that we don't need the switch card. We don't actually need the switch. We should be attaching only, well, we attached from our hand already, so I suppose we don't have a choice. Attaching 2 from the deck is okay, because now we have 13. We can discard 12. Remember, you're keeping 1 energy in the deck. That means you're only discarding 12 cards. We're only discarding 12 right now. That means we may actually have a Pidgeot discarded. So we may be able to only do 330 extra damage plus the 60 base. So that's at least 390 damage to kill off the Entei. Even with Heat Energy and Big Charm, they cannot survive, I don't think. And we just won the game against Charizard V-Star, knocking out another V for the final 2 prize. So that's 70 additional HP, plus 230, 300 HP with 1 Heat and 1 Cape of Toughness is still not enough to survive the 390 damage output. So we are doing a lot of damage with Steelix, because we have 22 energy in our deck, and we're doing a lot of energy, we're doing a lot of damage, almost as much damage with our Volcarona. Actually, Volcarona is doing 20x though, so it's not actually the same. We're doing a lot less, but actually, if we have enough basic energy discarded, just because we are playing Volcarona after Steelix, we can actually retreat to remove more energy from our Steelix and then do extra damage, you know, collect more energy in our discard pile. Bad thing about Steelix is that you actually need to spend a few energies and draw out your energy, discard with your Adamant before you're able to use the attack. And that means after that, the minute you use your Destructive Finish, you won't have that many energy inside your deck left, right? That's why we need so many energy, just because we want to be taking into account the attack cost, taking into account the amount of energy we discard with our Ataman, and maybe even for Snorlax to retreat. So we cannot actually expect to have a switch card inside the deck. We may have it prized. If we get a Lumineon though, we can search for our Bird Keeper to do the retreat, but we can't actually search for our supporter cards. We can't search for Clara to prepare for the next turn with Ataman. So it's always better to do Ataman for your item switch and an extra supporter, and then do your Giga Magnet for your destructive finish, and then that actually helps you do Surging Flames and another destructive finish on your next turn after that, which is actually the perfect, you know, it seals the game. It's the perfect combo against V-Star or even VMAX decks to win the game, because all we need is triple knockouts, right? Kill 3 V cards and we win the game. If they play a 1 prize though, in addition to the VMAX, like a Meloetta, for example, Fusion Strike Meloetta, we may actually need a little bit, we need to attack a bit more times. We may actually need another Clara or another Thornton in our hand in addition to that first one, just because we need to attack. We need an extra attacker, another extra strike. So we got our Skyla. We're up against a Mad Party deck right now. They are playing Ditto with Mad Party, which is you know, the obvious combo for Pokemon Go, and is actually obsolete now that we have Lost Origins Sableye. So Sableye actually does an effect that allows you to place 12 damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. If both players have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. So all you need to do is play Comfey to lost your cards, and Colress's Experiment to lost even more cards, and then eventually on your second turn, probably you would be able to play, I forgot the attack, Lost Mine, I think, for 12 damage counter every single turn on your opponent's Pokemon, as, you know, in any way you like, which is pretty cool. If they play low HP Pokemons like Ditto or Mad Party cards, you know, if they play Phoebus or something like that, you can actually snipe it on the bench with damage counters. You don't actually need to worry about Manaphy. You can't even kill Manaphy on the bench. Dunsparce, you know, if they have all those basic baby supports that have very low HP, you can kill them very easily. Sobbles on the bench, oh my god, Sobbles on the bench. If they scooped it up and leave it on the bench as the basic, you can actually kill 2 Sobbles in a single turn and deny them from that crazy Shady Dealings ability. So Sableye is actually a really good card right now. All you need is that 1 Psychic Energy. If you play your Giratina with Sableye, because Giratina actually needs a Psychic and a Grass. Psychic Grass with a Colorless, so you can play Mirage Gate for your Giratina V-Star, and then play your Sableye in addition to that. You know, in addition to your lost cards, your Comfey and your Colress's Experiment, Scoop Up Net, Air Balloon for Comfey, Lost City to help you, you know, put your opponent's Pokemon, once you knock them out, into the Lost Zone. That means if they play cards like Manaphy or Dunsparce, anything that, you know, anything that they're only playing 1 or 2 copy of, even a Zoroark box, if they play like Golisopod or Wormadam, you can actually kill that Zoroark, the Zoroark transformed Wormadam, and put that Wormadam into the Lost Zone. That means they cannot keep transforming into a Slowbro. They're gonna keep transforming into something like that. Obviously, they're not gonna transform into a Slowbro early in the game. They probably would discard it if they're playing a Zoro box, so you don't actually have a choice but to deal with the Slowbro. If they can use it, they would probably be able to, because there's no way you can knock out the Slowbro early. They're probably going to discard it from their hand and transform later. So we got a Bird Keeper, Clara, we got a lot of support cards in our hand. But we are up against a 1 prize deck. We should be using a different strategy to play this deck. This is a very different game. We can't afford to play our destructive finish that early, because if we do it early, we're going to be left with 1 card left in the deck and very few attackers. We don't have that many, we don't have as much strikes as we would like, as we would need to win the game, because we need to draw 1 prize at a time, do 1 knockout at a time with, you know, all of our Pokemon. So we have to attack with Magnezone, we have to attack with Body Slam, Snorlax to collect knockouts early in the game. We actually got 2 prize early, that means we're actually 2 prize ahead already. So if we bench a Volcarona later, If they kill the Volcarona, we are still good actually, because we are actually still a little bit ahead of them since we drew our prizes faster. So if they kill a Volcarona by the time we drew our 4th prize, for example, they would have 2 prizes remaining, right? And then we would be able to draw our 5th prize first. So we would actually be just a little bit faster. Just a little bit faster in terms of drawing our prize cards. And that actually helps us win the game. So all we need to do is play Volcarona at the very last second. You know, just before they're able to knock it out. Or we can just play it on, you know, the second last turn. Giga Magnet for no energies. Thank God we got a training card. We got Clara for the energy as well, so we don't really have to worry. Lumineon. Lumineon doesn't really work that well if you don't have proper supports in your deck. So if you want to draw energies, you're more likely to get it in your hand already. Anyways, if you don't have an energy in your hand already, it would be quite silly. You would at least have a Clara or a Bird Keeper or something else. Like, it would be quite ridiculous for you to play a Luminous Sign for Adamant and not having any energy in your hand, because we have 18 metal energies. We actually had to attach a lot to our Snorlax just now, just to attack. 4 energy costs a lot. That's why we're not getting energies. And now we just need to attach to our Steelix for the next strike, Clara to retrieve our Magnezone, and then play our second Magnezone after the destructive finish. So right now we actually don't have a choice. We have to attack with Steelix, and then maybe Clara for the Steelix back after playing the Volcarona. So I think we get to play Volcarona early. I don't think it matters, because we are 2 prizes ahead. We should be okay if we play Surging Flames after our Steelix right now. So if we attack with Destructive Finish right now and then Volcarona later on the next turn, we still can survive the game even if they kill our V card. We just need to be aware not to play any other V cards after that, because if we play another V, they're just gonna boss and knock it out, and then we don't have anything else. If they boss the Volcarona before we're able to attack, obviously bench it at the last second. Don't do it. We have our Bird Keeper as well. So Bird Keeper allows you to switch even if you have no cards in the deck left to draw. You don't need to draw to be able to activate the switch effect. It allows you to switch before you are able to draw cards from the deck. So even if you have 0 cards in the deck, you still get to switch with Bird Keeper. We have our training card for the Fire Energy after the Destructive Finish. If they don't play Pokestop or any other Stadium cards, I think that training card is going to help us a lot. We just need to play our Volcarona Bird Keeper. If they play the Stadium though, we can't do anything. We got a Fire in our hand. Okay, we got a Fire from the prize. So it doesn't matter if they play the Stadium card right now. We're safe. We just need to Surging Flames. And then, I don't know what Magnezone's attack is called. I'm sorry. Flash Cannon maybe, I don't know. But it does 120 damage for 3 energies. And on the next turn, we just need to do Giga Magnet to attach 3 energy from the deck, from the top 6 cards of the deck. Obviously, the top 6 would be all energies, just because we did our Surging Flames on the last turn. So Magnezone can quite easily collect the final prize, no question, just because we have our Clara in our hand already and 1 card left. Even if they play a Marnie, we would quite likely get the Clara back with another Marnie or a Bird Keeper on the next turn. We actually need to play the Bird Keeper right now though. So if they play a Marnie, we should be getting our Bird Keeper back. If we don't, we have that 1 Lumineon. And if we bench the Lumineon, it may be terrible, but I think it's too late in the game now. It's way too late for them to kill 2 V for the win, because if they kill 1 V and boss the Lumineon, it's kind of the same thing as killing a V and knocking out the Magnezone. So it doesn't matter if we bench the Lumineon, they still need 2 knockouts. And since we are collecting our first knockout, we need 2 knockouts as well, and since we are collecting the knockout first, we actually win the game. There we go. 1 last prize. They have 3 more. 2 turns to go. We are one turn away from the win, so to speak. If they Marnie, we would be able to play either a Marnie on our own turn, or... Oh wait, if they play a Marnie, we're actually screwed, aren't we? We should have played... We can't actually play our Clara though. We can't do anything but Birdkeeper on the last turn. We cannot afford to play a Clara. So that means if they play a Marnie right now, we would get nothing but energies into our hand, and then we would actually lose the game because we have nothing but energy from the top deck, from top 5 cards of the deck. We would draw nothing but energies. So Marnie, if they play it at the right time, they can actually destroy this entire list. They can obliterate our strategy if they play Marnie at the right time, or if they play Boss at the right time. But we can counter Boss with Thornton though. We have that one copy of Thornton to counter Boss. Clara doesn't really counter a Boss, but it does help you bench extra attackers and maybe get your Pidgeot to buy extra turns. Clara helps you get your energies as well. That's why we play 2 copies of that supporter. I think we need a lot more energy retrievals in terms of supporter. We can't actually play item retrieval, obviously, because we cannot search for those cards unless if we play Adaman. And if we play Adaman, it's actually quite difficult to search for stuff in addition to your stage 2 evolution. You need to search for your rare candy, and you know, if you play your second Adaman, it's going to be a bit tougher to summon your... It's going to be a bit tougher to play the second copy because you need your Lumineon to search for it. We are only playing 3 copies. It's not that easy. You need another 2 energy to discard from your hand. So we played a Clara to evolve our Magnezone and attached 3 energy from the top deck. Well, 2 I think, and then 1 from the hand to do Flash Cannon, I think, for the final knockout. So right now we're up against Natsu. Hail Natsu. They're playing a Eternatus VMAX, I think. A VMAX with Umbreon, and I think they are playing a new One Price Darkness. I forgot what they are playing, honestly. So we got Capture for our Snorlax. We just need to retreat, Gormandize, and get the perfect setup. If we have a Snorlax prize though, we may need to search for, you know, I don't know what we're going to search for with the Capture, but I think it's better to play more Heavy Ball in this deck, I suppose, because we only have 1 Snorlax, or maybe an extra copy of Snorlax. We only have 1 Heavy Ball if Snorlax is prized, and Snorlax being prized is not going to help us much because it's not that easy to get the Heavy Ball. We can Adaman for it, obviously. But if we don't get the Heavy Ball, if we get the Snorlax out too late, it's not going to help us at all. Because we need to be playing our Destructive Finish. If we can do Steam Siege, I forgot the first attack, but the first attack of Radiant Steelix, I think it's Steam Siege, allows you to do 20 damage and then attach 2 extra metal energy from your discard pile to your Radiant Steelix. That means it actually prepares you for Destructive Finish on your next turn. It helps you do the attack if your opponent doesn't kill it, because it has 170 HP. It may be able to tank enough damage to prevent the knockout to survive 1 turn. But as we all know, Standard is super fast. They got Melanie, they got Double Turbo, Dire Flame Wings. They can quite easily kill the Steelix on the second turn, on their second turn going first, on their first turn going second, even if they have, you know, power attackers like, I don't know, Moltres, Dark Patch. So they have Zigzagoon, Umbreon, Eternatus VMAX, and Moltres. They may be playing a Darkrai V-Star in addition to all of that. You never know. So here comes the VMAX, and they actually killed our Magnemite, which is terrible, and did a Marnie in addition to that. Marnie could actually be helping us though, I'm not too sure. It may be actually doing a good thing, because we got nothing but energies in our hand, and now we got an Edaman, and that Edaman is going to help us a lot this turn, because we actually need to set up another 2 Magnemites on the bench. They can quite easily do a boss after this, so we have no choice but to search for 2 Magnemites, or maybe 1 Magnemite and a Heavy Ball if the other one is prized. You get to search for anything with Edaman. That's super cool, isn't it? We get to play so many copies of this supporter for this deck. An Astral Radiance card with Lost Origin combo. Super cohesive. So 2 Magnemites, and then all we need to do is draw enough metal energy to do another Edaman to search for the evolution, stage 2 evolution, in addition to a few supporter cards. So I think we should be attaching so that we can draw more of our supporter cards into our hand. We just need 1 more energy, right? If we have a training card, we can retrieve the metal energy. So it may not be wise to have attached the energy just now, because if we don't draw another metal, we cannot play the Edaman, and there's no way we can draw our metal energy. So right now we may be able to do Edaman for the Rare Candy evolution, retreat, and play Radiant Steelix with that quick ball. If we get a metal energy, there we go, we got the metal energy from the top deck. We are playing 18 copies in his deck, so we should be getting one. You know, after Gorman dies, like, come on, we should be getting at least 2 copies, right? And we actually got I think we got our evolution, our stage 2, and we got our incense, obviously. So always search for your incense before you do your destructive, before you do Giga Magnet, because that actually increases the chances of you getting more energies attached to your Pokemon. And if you attach only 2 energies to your Steelix and 1 energy from your hand, you can still attack with Destructive Finish, but you cannot retreat on your next turn. So that means you need a Pidgeot to buy yourself extra turns to attach that 1 extra energy for the retreat cost, and then prepare a Volcarona on the bench to do Surging Flames on the next turn. If you prepare that way though, if you don't have enough energy for the retreat cost, or if you don't have a Switch Bird Keeper in your hand after, you know, just before doing your Destructive Finish, you actually cannot, you know, you may get bossed on your next turn. If they play a Marnie or a boss, they're going to destroy you. Obviously, Marnie is not going to destroy you if you have enough cards in your hand. Marnie cannot actually do anything, because we are drawing prizes as well. We're drawing prizes with Steelix, and we have 1 extra card left in the deck. That means if they play Marnie, we would still essentially have a few cards left. In addition to the Pidgeot. So there we go, we did our switch. We actually can retreat, so we don't need to search for the switch. We search for our evolution and a Clara, and that's actually enough to survive a few turns. And we did our Rose Tower for nothing. We actually got a Fire Energy in our hand though. We got a Fire Energy and we attached it to Volcarona. And instead of attaching an extra energy to Steelix for the retreat cost, since we have a Fire, we attached to our Volcarona, benching it already. But that is actually quite risky though, just because they could quite easily do a boss. They already played their Umbreon VMAX, I guess that's the reason we did that, because they already evolved. So no more Dark Signal for the boss effect. But even if they could Dark Signal, I don't think they have enough energy to attack with Eternatus. They may just play Dark Patch though, quite easy to do that, but are they able to bench enough Pokemons for Eternatus to do a knockout? Probably if they play Crobats. So I'm checking my deck like crazy because we have 1 Clara. Are we able to survive with that 1 Clara? We just need to play it at the right time. I think we have our second Clara prized. So if you have those key cards prized, you can actually buy yourself even more attacks. You can buy yourself extra attackers. For example, if you have a Thornton and you know, 1 extra Thornton or Clara in the prize card, you may be able to draw it with your Surging Flames, and then do another, you know, revive another 2 Pokemons with your Clara, which is gonna, you know, it's gonna help you win the game a lot easier. So the reason we played Clara right now is because we have another one on inside the prize, and we are drawing 3 prizes, so we should be getting it. If we don't though, if it's stuck as the last prize, we may be screwed. So we actually searched for the energy, and we should not have done that just because fortunately we have 15 basic discarded. That means we are still killing the VMAX, but we should not have retrieved any energy from the deck just because we may not be able to you know, discard enough. We may not have enough damage with Surging Flames to do a VMAX knockout. But I don't think we have a choice though, because we need to play another Volcarona, right? If we don't get the Clara from the prize, we should be, you know, drawing out the energy from our discard pile. We should be keeping the Fire Energy in our hand instead of inside the deck, because there's no way to search for that fire energy. And if we play Destructive Finish, that's gonna be our last strike. But we only need one more attacker though. We just need one more Steelix. If they play a Marnie right now, we would be completely screwed. So it's always better to bench before doing your Surging Flames. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I made a huge mistake here. I think this was one of the earliest gameplays, so I made a mistake. Always bench before doing Surging Flames, because if they play Marnie, you would essentially have all of your supporters, all of your Pokemons at the bottom of your deck, and there's no way you can search for them back because you're drawing nothing but energies from the top 5 cards of your deck. The top 5 is nothing but energies. So there we go. I think we have enough to kill the Eternatus. We just need to attach 3. 1 for the retreat cost and 2 for the attack cost. That would be reducing our energy card count down to 11. That means we are doing 300 extra damage with Destructive Finish plus 60 base. That means we're actually doing 360 damage to kill the VMAX. So if we have 1 less energy, if we have like 1 extra energy in our hand, 1 less inside the deck, we are only doing 330 damage because we are doing like 270 plus 60. So 330 is not enough to kill an Eternatus VMAX. Thank God we have exactly enough to knock out the final VMAX for the win. If we don't though, I think we can survive the next turn and play Volcarona for another Surging Flames because we have only 1 prize remaining. We just need to Surging Flames for the kill and we actually win the game, right? Because we got 3 energy on Steelix discarded. In addition to, you know, we can also retreat with Magnezone. Obviously retreat with Magnezone. Well, you cannot actually retreat with Magnezone though, because you have to attach from your hand. You're forced to attach from your hand the fire energy to your Volcarona, so Magnezone cannot retreat. But you can actually do maybe 1, 2, 12, 15, 320 damage. We cannot discard our energy from our hand though. I think we have an Adamant. I think we have an Adamant in our hand, so we may be able to discard an extra 2 metal energy from our hand, if I'm not mistaken. So Adamant to discard energy helps Volcarona do extra damage. And we are playing 3 copies, so it may actually show up late in the game. And even if it shows up late, it can still do something for you. It can still help you boost Surging Flames damage, attack damage output. Okay, we're gonna bench a Pidgeot this turn. They are playing a Hisuian Decidueye V with Eldegoss. V-Star, my bad. We got our Rare Candy, Incense, Adamant. We just need to get our extra metal energy. I don't know why it's so easy to get so many trainer cards. They're not giving us our energy. We have so many energy though. I tried playing 16 basic metal. Adamant is very difficult. It kind of demands you to play at least 17. If you don't have at least 17 basic energy, in addition to special energies, obviously. If you have different types of energy and special energy as well, I think you need at least 17 metal. If you play nothing but metal energies, I think you just need maybe 16 or 15. 16 or 15 is okay. Adamant is much easier. It gives you a higher rate of drawing it into your hand if you play nothing but metal energies, obviously. But since we are playing special energy, we have to add a little bit more, and 18 is actually a lot. 18 is a lot. We don't have that much space for our supporter. We don't have that much space for our incense. We used to have normally 3 incense and 1 Ultra Ball for a deck like this. But since we're playing Adamant to search for our incense, we can quite easily search for Magnezone as well. The raw Magnezone copy, the raw Pokemon copy of Magnezone instead of incense to draw it out. If we get 2 incense prize, for example, and Ultra Ball played already or discarded, we just need to search for the Magnezone, the direct copy with our Adamant, in addition to the Switch or a Clara. So we got a Switch and a Clara this turn. I think we got Thornton instead, because we have a Clara prize. So we got Thornton, and oh, I think we were preparing for Steelix to get knocked out, right? Oh, I don't think we're doing it this turn. Because if we do it this turn, I don't think we have enough energies anyways. So if we do it this turn, we could actually play the training card. They gave us a training card, so we can play the training card for Surging Flames and then, you know, switch to attack with the Volcarona. Well, we can't switch though, can we? So it doesn't matter. We don't have enough energies anyway, so it's kind of hypothetical. We did our energy stream. So it's called Energy Stream, and it does 20 damage for one colorless, helping you attach 2 extra metal energy from the discard pile to your Radiant Steelix. And if they kill us on this turn, they're probably gonna do it, because Desira is doing 160 plus 50, I think 30 more. Plus 30 more for each energy you discard from your hand. So you can do a maximum of 250 damage. They just need to discard 1 energy from their hand. There we go. There we go. And they even got like Grant to add even more damage. Choice Belt is not doing anything to Radiant Pokemon. But they knocked out the Steelix. Now all we need to do is Giga Magnet for 2 more energies from the deck. Attach the energy to our Magnemite. And then transform the Magnemite back into the Radiant Steelix with our Thornton. Helping us do Destructive Finish on this turn. And then all we need to do is retreat on the next turn. We can even attach 1 energy with the training card. We actually have to, but we have a Pidgeot on the bench, so we don't really need to. But it's better to just attach 4 energies onto the Steelix right now, so that we can quite easily retreat Surging Flames and then do it all over again on the next turn. There we go. I'm pretty sure we have enough. I don't know why we're so worried. Like, we're probably worried we may not have enough damage to kill the V-Star. It is a V-Star, by the way. Like, it's only 270 HP. We don't need a lot of energy discarded from the deck. I think I'm thinking whether or not to play the Volcarona on the bench. We can't play the Cynthia, obviously, because we already did the Thornton. So Cynthia is not doing anything for this game. If you get it early at the right time, though, you can play it to draw your Clara out, I guess, or to draw your Rare Candy. So we got no extra supporter cards, no Clara, no more Thornton, all discarded. No Paul Pads as well in this deck. So now we actually have to play Surging Flames, and then after that we're stuck with nothing. We actually don't have any more revival cards. That means you're forced to attack with Pidgeot. Pidgeot can still attack after your Surging Flames because you have enough energy inside the deck to do Giga Magnet with. We even have our second Magnezone with the Rare Candy. So if all else fails, we got Magnezone to do Power Beam for 120 damage, and Pidgeot to do Flight Surf for 160 if you have a Stadium card in play. So 160 is enough to kill the Moltres though. 160 because they are doing damage to themselves. If they kill us with the Moltres, if they knock out Volcarona with... Well, Volcarona, they have Choice Bell, right? So if they knock out Volcarona with the Moltres, they are doing 30 damage to itself with Aura Burn. And then we actually get to do 160 more. That means they have 30 HP remaining after Flight Surf. And if they kill the Pidgeot with the same Moltres, then they would have to kill themselves first. So knocking out your own Pokemon, drawing the final 2 prize while you do a knockout is actually losing the game. You actually lose the game if you kill yourself drawing the final prizes, right? If your opponent draws the final prize as well, they actually win. That's how the game works. I tried it before. If you kill yourself at the same time as your opponent, if both players draw all prizes at the same time, but if you damage your own Pokemon and knock yourself out, that means you forfeit, and you lose the game. They actually, there's actually a prompt to ask you whether you want to end the game. If that happens, they're gonna prompt you to ask you, if you do this, you would lose the game. And then, do you want to continue? That would be a yes or no button. And if you click the yes button, you would draw the final 2 prize, but your opponent would actually win the game because they actually draw all of their prizes as well. So it's a very interesting predicament. It doesn't happen often. Because Moltres, I think Moltres is the only Pokemon that, you know, the only V Pokemon that damages itself. Oh, my bad. There's a Kingler. There's a Kingler VMAX that actually does the same thing. 240 damage if I'm not mistaken. 230. Only 230 damage with Max Pinsir. And then 30 damage to itself. So right now we're up against a one prize Magmortar with Electivire deck from Brilliant Stars. The tag team duo. Doing 230 damage with Bolt Explosion, and Live Wire I think is doing 130 damage for 1 energy. So they can quite easily kill the Snorlax, they just need the Magma Basin. So Electivire is a bit more difficult than Magmortar, in my opinion, just because you can play Zoroark with this. Obviously the best combo is Zoroark, just because if you need both the stage 2, both the stage 1, my bad. If you need both stage 1 Pokemon in play every single turn, it's always better to play Zoroark. If you just need one stage 1 attacker, if you don't need the stage 1 support, if you have a Bibarel, it's not that necessary to play Zoroark. You know, if you have a stage 1 attacker in addition to Bibarel, I don't think Zoroark is that necessary. But if you have a support, you know, another extra attacker that you need to support, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but if you have another stage 1 Pokemon that you need, but if you play only one copy, I think it would be actually the perfect list. If you have one copy of Zoroark in the list, it would make the deck a little bit more cohesive. If you play too many Zoroarks in your deck, bad thing is that you may get nothing but Pokemons in your hand, and that means you may not be able to play those cards. If you don't get your Ultra Ball or your Quick Ball, you may not be able to empty your hand to draw cards with Bibarel. If Bibarel is your draw engine. If you play Chinchino, it's a different story, but if you play Bibarel with so many Pokemons, you're more likely to be able to get, you know, you may get stuck with nothing but evolution cards in your hand, or maybe basic Pokemons that you cannot bench, and then no Ultra Balls, nothing in your hand to discard, and then you get stuck, you know, not doing anything in a single turn. And that's super bad. Obviously, it's all about the ratio. Make sure you have enough supporter cards, enough item to discard from your hand. Don't play too many Pokemons. If you play a Zoroark box, I don't think you can play, you know, a solid 4 copy of the other basic Pokemons. If you play 4 Zorua and Zoroark, you cannot play 4 copies of any other basics. You have to keep it down to 2 or even 1 copy. It's that difficult. This game is that tight. You cannot afford to play that many Pokemons. So we got our Marnie, and this is the first game that we played our Marnie to basically give us a, you know, a different hand. And we got our first Magnezone. We are actually playing a Magneton for this list. A little bit different. We have no Magneton for the final version. We have instead only 4 rare candies, 2 Magnezones, and 3 Magnemite. So no stage 1, we have our stage 2 skip evolution. We're skipping the evolution with Edamon. But for this list, we have a Skyla. We don't actually have Edamon. We don't have that many copies. We only have 1 copy, I'm pretty sure. This one is one of the earliest build, and we actually are up against a 1 prize. So you get to see how well this deck works even against a 1 prize deck. We have a research. I don't think we have that many Clara or Thorntons. We don't have that many Metal Energy either. So we have a lot less energies, but we have like Cynthia, Bruno, and Research. We have a different, you know, a different trainer strategy, a very different mix of trainer cards. Eventually, I decided to play nothing but Edamon, and only 1 copy of Cynthia and 1 copy of Birdkeeper. I don't think we have a Marnie in our final list. The final upgrade has only 1 Cynthia for the draw support, and Birdkeeper is there for the switch mainly, but it can also help you draw extra cards. You know, you may be lucky enough to draw your Thornton into your hand just before doing Destructive Finish. You know, you may actually do like Luminous Sign for Birdkeeper, draw, you know, maybe a Clara from the top 3 cards of the deck, in addition to doing the switch from the Snorlax, and then Destructive Finish to set up for the next turn. That would be perfect. If you draw nothing but energy though, you're actually doing less damage with your Steelix. Radiant Steelix is doing a little bit less damage if you draw all 3 energies with your Bird Keeper. That's why we only have 1 copy. And that's why it's better to play Edaman to search for the item switch, in addition to another maybe Clara or something else, because Bird Keeper may just draw you nothing but energies. We're gonna do Giga Magnet. You can actually choose whether to attach or not. We chose not to attach because they gave us a Magma Basin. So we can quite easily retreat on the next turn and do the Basin. If they discard the Stadium though, I don't know what to do honestly. We should have just attached that 1 energy. I don't think we have that many energy inside this deck. So we have a little bit less energy, probably a lot, like we still have a lot left inside the deck probably, because we only played 1 Snorlax, right? We only attack with the Snorlax and nothing else. So we should be having a lot more energy inside the deck. We search for a Clara with the Skyla. So Skyla only searches you 1 card. Edaman is doing things much faster. As you saw, you know, earlier this game, we actually had to play our Snorlax for a few turns in addition to the Marnie and Research. So we are a bit more delayed for this game than we normally would be if we play an Edaman with Snorlax and no other supporter cards. Edaman is the secret ingredient, is the secret sauce for a successful Radiant Steelix deck. Because if you play Edaman, you can search for your rare candy in addition to a Clara or a Thornton, preparing for your second Steelix. If you get a Thornton and if you have a Volcarona already benched, we have a lot of basic summons in his deck. 4 VIP, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Capture, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. So it's quite easy to bench a Volcarona in addition to your Steelix. Have both in play, maybe a Pidgeot as well early in the game without having to do Edaman to search for them. So it's quite easy to search for an additional Clara. And all you need to do is attack with the bench Volcarona on your next turn. Clara or Thornton after that. You know, obviously if you have a Thornton, you have to play it after the Volcarona gets knocked out. Or, you know, if they don't kill your Volcarona, you can still transform with Thornton. We have no choice but to attack with Surging Flames right now because we have 0 cards in the deck. We don't have a Pidgeot for this list. This deck build is a bit different from the final version. No Pidgeot. Eventually, I realized how perfect the combo is. Radiant Steelix with Pidgeot is like the perfect harmony because they're both from the same set, and you know, it's kind of, it works really well together. It saves you so many turns. If you keep on shuffling it back into the deck, you cannot take yourself out. It's impossible because you're drawing prize card after doing the attack, and if you have enough cards in your hand, they can't Marnie you to kill your hand. They can't actually deck you out with a Marnie. They can't deck you out with a Judge. There's no such thing as resets them. There's no other cards. They can play a Roxanne though, and then have, you know, force you to put all cards at the bottom of your, you know, force you to draw only 2 cards. You may just have nothing on your next turn, but all you need to do is just wait until you get back your supporter cards. I don't think you need to wait that many turns to draw them back. If you have no training card, you may have to wait for the Clara to get back that 1 fire energy for your Volcarona to do Surging Flames. So that would be horrible if they play Marnie at the right time. Or even a Roxanne. Roxanne is going to be really, really scary. Roxanne is the power card right now. It's the most powerful supporter. But if you get it way too early though, you may have no choice but to discard it with a Research. If you don't play a Research with a Roxanne, if you play Shady Dealings and, you know, other supporter cards in addition to Roxanne, it may be better than doing the Research, because that actually means you have no chance of discarding your Roxanne from your hand, and you are more likely to play it, you know, at least once in a game. Post rotation though, there's no more Shady Dealings, but there's still a Starbirth. Starbirth can actually still help you search for the Roxanne. We have Luminion V for that as well, so it's not perfect, obviously. We even have Bayonet, my bad. So Bayonet actually has a very cool ability that lets you retrieve any supporter cards from your discard pile. But in order to use that ability, you have to put all attached cards, you have to put that Pokemon and all attached cards into the lost zone. That means you're losting the Bayonet just to retrieve a supporter. You cannot use that ability a second time. You cannot scoop it up. You cannot recycle the ability because you are losted. You have that Bayonet. Bayonet is losted. You cannot take it back. It's banished. Okay, we got 2 prize remaining. We just need to do Destructive Finish, and we can even do our Power Beam for the knockout because they have 4 damage control on the Magmortar. So if they boss our, well, they have to kill Steelix, right? They have to kill Steelix. If they boss our Volcarona, Steelix is not doing as much damage. So we have our second Volcarona, and they actually gave us our Magma Basin. They gave us a Magma Basin for Volcarona. So all we need to do is attach to the Steelix, retreat after doing the Magma Basin, and then we can do Surging Flames after that. So boss is going to destroy our strategy. If we do after doing Destructive Finish, your opponent can actually do a boss to knock out your Volcarona on the bench. If they kill your Volcarona, and if you cannot survive that, if you don't have a Clara in your hand, obviously you would have one at least. If you have a Thornton in your hand, you can actually play Thornton for Volcarona to replace your Steelix or anything. If they kill your Volcarona, you can actually replace some other basic. Obviously, you want to be keeping Steelix on the bench. If you have a Luminion, you can swap Luminion for a Volcarona, and then Training Card for the Fire Energy, or maybe, if you have a Fire Energy in your hand already, you can attach. If you don't have the Training Card, you may have to do the Clara instead of the Thornton. Since they are both supporter cards, you cannot actually play them both in a single turn. So Clara is actually better than Thornton if you have no Training Card in play. Just because we have Pidgeot to help us buy that extra 1 turn. We can attach for the retreat cost, and then Pidgeot, Gust our Pidgeot, shuffle back our Pidgeot, my bad, I'm using the wrong term. And then prepare for the retreat on the next turn, bench our Volcarona and attach the energy, retreat, Surging Flames after that. And we get to shuffle back all the energy and do Destructive Finish once more. So that's why this deck is called the Destruction Loop, because we are looping the attack. Destructive Finish, Surging Flames, back to Steelix, back to Volcarona, back to Steelix again, and back to Volcarona. So we are attacking alternatively with these two Pokemons over and over and over until we collect all the prize cards. We're doing a lot of damage, a VMAX knockout with Steelix. We're also doing a VMAX knockout with Volcarona. We're doing crazy amount of damage with both cards. If they boss you or Marnie at the wrong time, like if they do it, they can actually destroy you by playing it at the right time, is what I'm trying to say. So fingers crossed you don't get Marnie or bossed. If they get it at the wrong time though, they may not be able to do it. Disruption is very annoying. Marnie is gonna be countered though. There's gonna be a Spelunker on the next set. I think Incandescent Silver Tempest, my bad. Silver Tempest has a Spelunker. I'm not sure if that's the real name of the supporter card, but it's a Japanese translation. So Spelunker actually helps you look at the top 3, the bottom 3, my bad. Look at the bottom 3 cards of a deck and put any 1 card into your hand. Only 1 card though. If you flip a tails, you actually have to flip a coin. It's a coin flipping supporter. If you flip a heads, you get to look at the bottom 8 cards of your deck and search for any 1 card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck after that. There's only 1 card, which is pretty terrible, but if you get Marnie, that Spelunker could actually help you, draw back whatever you put, if a Power Tablet maybe, or a Choice Belt, whatever that you have at the bottom. instead of, you know, playing a Shauna or a Cynthia or Bruno, you can actually do Spelunker to get that one specific card back into your hand. If you have already the necessary cards, you know, inside the hand, and all you need is that one card at the bottom, that supporter card may actually help you a lot. So right now we're up against a Lucario V-Star. They got Mew for the draw support, the item draw support. So we stand a good chance against any V-Star or VMAX deck. We can still win against a one prize because we have our Magnezone. As you saw earlier, we won against Mad Party and Magmortar, Electivire, a one prize Brilliant Stars deck, Electivire and Magmortar. We can attack with Snorlax, Body Slam. We can do Power Beam, Surging Flames, Destructive Finish. We have 2 Magnezones, 2 Volcarona. We can also do Flight Surf as an additional attack. So for this list, we have Peony and Gift Energy. Gift Energy helps you draw cards until you have 7 in your hand. If your opponent kills any one of your Pokemon, well, kills your active Pokemon with that energy attached. So if your active Pokemon is knocked out with Gift Energy attached to it, and if they don't play a Temple of Sinnoh, obviously, then you actually get to activate the effect. You get to do the Lucky Egg effect of drawing cards until you have 7 cards in your hand, passing the turn. Research. Okay, they're gonna do their first attack right now, and it's not actually enough to kill the Snorlax if they don't hit for the weakness, because Lucario is only doing 120 damage, and that's actually not enough. But since they're hitting for the weakness, Snorlax is gonna die right now. They have double turbo, so they're actually doing 200 damage. There we go, Fighting Knuckle for knockout. We got our Rare Candy and Peony. We just need to play Peony for the Magnezone. This is again a different build. Sorry about that, but we actually have to try a lot of times. We have to go for a lot of reruns before we found the perfect combo, which is Edamon. We have Edamon in this list as well, in this deck, but only like 1 or 2 copies. Focusing more on Edamon is actually the key to a successful Steelix deck. I cannot stress that enough. Like, the magic of this deck is Edamon. If you ignore that card, if you ignore Thornton, if you ignore Clara, you're done for. You have to add enough copies of your Edamon, enough energies in the deck, enough searches, enough Claras, enough Thornton for you to be able to make this strategy work. Right? It's all about mathematics. If you can work out the numbers, then you can make the strategy work. You can make any combo work as long as if you can get the numbers right. If the numbers aren't right, then it's not gonna work. The numbers has to be right. So Peony is emptying our hand right now. As you can see, we have no cards in our hand. Peony is not a good card, apparently, for this list. We do have a Training Court for the Fire on the next turn, but it is very risky because we are drawing two cards from the prize, but we are emptying our deck. Right now, we have no cards in our hand, and from the deck on the next turn, we are only drawing 1 card, which is pretty terrible. If they remove the Training Court, we may not be able to attack on the next turn. We're definitely doing a V-Star knockout right now. I think we're only doing 330 damage because we are not playing that many energies for this list. It's a very different list. We have Research, Marnie. There we go, a V-Star knockout. We would be able to do at least 420 damage if we played the Edamon one. If we played the final upgrade. The list in the description is the final version, and it's the best one yet, and it works really, really well. It got me 7 win streaks, and I think 8 or more if I was a bit more careful. I think 8 win streaks, because I fought after that as well. 8 win streaks, and then my 9th game I lost, and then that actually broke the chain. But after that, I won quite a lot of games as well. So the winning rate of this deck is very, very high. I would say about 90%. Even if you're up against a one prize deck, you still stand a good chance at winning. because this deck is that good. The numbers work perfectly. I finally found the perfect ratio. It's really, really difficult to find the perfect numbers. But fortunately, we are able to do it for this game, for this video, I guess. Surging Flames, if they do a boss to kill the Steelix, they can't kill the Steelix though, because Aura Star is only doing 70 damage. We are retreating to remove the energy and shuffling it back. That means we can do Magnezone. They can't kill the Steelix even with the boss. And we can actually do our Giga Magnet to charge up our Steelix for another Lucario knockout. So we actually have to attach extra energies from the deck, and we are drawing one extra card as well. So we may not have enough to kill the Lucario. Let's see, do we have enough? We need to attach 2. So that means we have 8 discards. That's 240 damage plus 60 base. So that's a total of 300 damage, 30 extra damage. Fortunately, we are able to kill the V-Star for the final kill. We actually have a boss for this as well. Boss is not necessary because we are doing a knockout. Any knockout every single turn is enough. If we play a boss, we want to be targeting. If they play Meloetta early in the game, we just need to kill it fast with our Body Slam. If we can kill it with the Body Slam, that would be better. But if we kill it with the Magnezone, we may have to sacrifice the stage 2 card, which is not good. So it's always better just to do Destructive Finish, the same combo, Steelix, then Volcarona, then Destructive Finish, then the Surging Flames, then back doing 320 damage with our Surging Flames. If we don't retrieve any energy, as you saw earlier, if we don't retrieve that fire energy from our discard pile, we can actually do 340 damage, and that's actually enough to kill the Mew VMAX with the Oricorio. So Surging Flames is doing a knockout against the VMAX. Destructive Finish obviously is doing a knockout as well. All we need is one VMAX kill. You know, we should play Escape Rope for this deck, apparently. I don't know, I quite like the switch card though. The item switch is better than Escape Rope in my opinion, because we may want to be targeting our opponent's active. If they play, for example, a VMAX attacker, and then if we do an Escape Rope, we can attack with Steelix, but we would be targeting something else. We would be hitting some other Pokemon instead of their main attacker. And I think it would be smarter just to play the item switch, because we can do a surprise knockout by, you know, switching into the Steelix right after benching it and Rare Candy evolving our, you know, we can actually bench it, do the ability on the same turn, and search for a switch card with the Edamon. We can do all of that within a single turn, playing our Radiant Pokemon to do the surprise knockout with Destructive Finish. So that's the power of this insane one-price deck. Well, it's not a one-price deck, my bad. A Radiant deck. It has a lot of V cards in it. It even has the new Pidgeot V, Vanishing Wings. I'm very happy that we get to feature that card. Right now we're up against a Litigan V-Star deck. Hisuian Litigan. We are doing twice as much damage with our Volcarona, thanks to the weakness. They have Quick Attune for extra 40 HP. So this is going to be a test of how much damage can we actually do with Steelix. Are we actually able to kill VMAX? Because Hisuian Litigan is essentially a VMAX, you know, it has the HP equivalent to a VMAX, thanks to, you know, Choice Belt and Quick Attune. And they may just play Shaymin V-Star. I don't think they have a Shaymin though, because they got Torterra, which is already a stage 2 card. So Torterra with Litigan V-Star and Quick Attune, a lot of grass Pokemon there, but they got Star Perfume, I guess, that's why they're playing that many. So Star Perfume, they even have a Flapple though. I think it's kind of overdoing it, isn't it? They are playing way too many grass Pokemons. They should be playing a little bit more, you know, more supported cards and more trainers for the consistency, I guess. More switch cards as well. So I think I'm just going to end the voiceover right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we're featuring the new Radiant Steelix from Lost Origin with the Destructive Finish attack, doing 60 base damage plus a special effect of discarding all cards from your deck until one card remains, and then doing 30 extra damage for each energy you discarded in this way. You get to do your Magnezone, Giga Magnet to attach extra energy from the deck, from top 6 cards of your deck, attach Metal Energy onto your Radiant Steelix with the ability, and then attach an extra one from your hand for the retreat cost to prepare for your retreat cost on the next turn. Doing Destructive Finish, retreat to your Volcarona, shuffle back the energy on the next turn with Surging Flames, and then repeat, recycle with Clara and Thornton, and also your Magnezone's ability actually helps you retreat as well. It helps you, it helps you search your deck, attach from the deck Metal Energies onto your Volcarona for the retreat cost, and also onto your Steelix on the bench if you play a Clara for the attack cost, and it helps you do a second or even a third Destructive Finish for the win. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy life.
Bye.